3520 Broadway, and 1500 North 12th Street. The Liquor Booth, where it's always happy hour.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Daily Muddy. I'm Ashley Conrad. Joining me today, the busiest beaver in all of Quincy, Curtis Sethaler. How are you?
I'm great.
Good. You're great and you're busy. So we were talking before we hit go on the camera about everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
Now, I could roll down a list, but I want to give you a chance to talk. So we'll start with your newest title, which is facilitator of Adams County CEO.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, can you give me a little bit? I know a little bit about Adams County CEO, but tell me what it is.
Yeah, so Adams County CEO is a program that high school students can go through. It's selective, so it's a unique group of kids who apply for the program. We actually have our biggest class coming in this fall, so it's super exciting for me to be in that position, knowing that we have maxed out the class at 20 students.
Yeah.
But it's an opportunity for students who want to engage in entrepreneurship to do that and to walk through a program that encourages them, that develops their leadership, their creativity, really fosters that potential within them to be the next business leaders of tomorrow, like right now.
Yeah.
So,
and it's a good fit, right?
Yeah.
Because you are an entrepreneur at heart, right? And so just real quick, you are the area director of Young Life.
Yep.
Right. You are co-founder, co-owner of Quincy Axe Company and Experience Quincy.
Yep.
You are a personal professional coach.
Yep.
You are, I'm going to stop there for just a second. So you have a long resume of qualifications that lend to this position. But I'll say the one that when I think of this position and the one that I see of you kind of the most, which of course you're very engaged in Quincy. So thank you for that. But the one that I see is on social media. And I was just saying how motivational you are. And I think that is one thing that, any younger person looking to find their way needs that.
Yeah. I think it's adults too, but I think in a lot of culture, we just need people to believe in us.
Right.
It's the simple thing. It's that one voice in your life that's the affirmation. It's like, man, you wake up in the morning and you know everything's going to suck, but you get that one message from somebody, or you run into somebody at the coffee shop and they give you that one just boost that you need. Whether it's a compliment on how good your hair looks or clothes or whatever, hey, I saw you doing this thing, in public. And it's like, man, I needed that today.
Right.
I got that message from somebody yesterday, and it was nothing that I was like, oh, let me build this person up. It was genuine and real. And I'm like, man, you've been killing it lately. And I just appreciate you so much. And I got a text back 9:00 last night. It was you have no idea how much I needed to hear that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't
not earth shattering, but it
is.
is.
It's letting people know that they're seen and they're believed in. And I think adults need that, but I think even more so students need that right now.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate that I get to do that in a lot of different avenues. And on paper, it looks like I do a lot of stuff. And like you said, it looks like I'm the busiest person in the world, but I'm really not.
Well, busy is kind of a cuss word to me because busy is not necessarily productive, but you are engaged. You are very involved in kind of putting your time where your mouth is. And, rather than just saying, do your best, be your best, live up to your potential.
Right.
You're acting in a way that lets people follow that, through mentorship, which I think is incredible. And I didn't mention the school board. Hello. Right? So all of these things kind of culminate together to create the perfect fit for Adams County CEO.
Yeah. If you look at the stuff that I do, everything does have kind of a common thread. It's all about building community and building each other up.
Yeah.
It is that investment. I'm fortunate that I have a lot of voices in my life that challenge me in a lot of different ways that are really fun. And early on in my Young Life career, I had a leader, student who became a volunteer with us who was like, this kid was just after it. And I'm like, man, if I want to run with this kid, I'm going to have to put my money where my mouth is.
Yeah.
And I wasn't in the gym then. I wasn't doing the stuff that I'm doing. But I'm like, if I'm going to be a person who is going to challenge people and tell them you need to become everything God made you to be, figure out what that potential is. I'm like, I have to go for that on my own.
Right.
I have to figure out what that is. So I need to be at the leading edge of that. And I don't want to die with anything left in the tank.
Yeah.
Which means I'm going to push, I'm going to try to figure this stuff out, and I'm going to just do everything I possibly can to live a life of impact and investment and watch communities and lives change because of that. And, all of the things that I do have that central theme behind them.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate that early on, there was a business leader here in the community I was fortunate to grab lunch with, and I said, man, I see you everywhere. How do you do it?
Yeah.
Like, it makes no sense because you're super successful, and how do you do all of these things? And I will never forget these words. He said, the more you do, the more you realize you can do. You figure it out. You do a little bit for a while, and then it's like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
And you find a little more capacity and a little more capacity, and you keep adding to it that way until you're doing a lot of things. And that's okay, because it is.
Here you are.
Well, it's harmony too. And when you find that kind of red thread that ties everything together too, it's easier than it looks like it is. But a lot of us live lives that are so undisciplined and so out of control. We don't know how to manage time, and our schedules run us rather than the other way around.
Ah, amen, man. I was just talking about that. My schedule is definitely running me, so I could use a little more motivation.
We all go through seasons like that.
Yeah, right. But I think, kudos to you for being so engaged, being so involved, helping people of all walks of life kind of realize their potential, and doing so in a way that leads rather than bosses. Right? Because you can't instruct people to do it. You have to let them see it. Yeah.
Right. You have to show people that it's possible. And if you're not willing to do that, John Maxwell's has a great saying of like, you can't lead people where you haven't gone yourself.
Right.
But we have a fantastic culture that wants to play like keyboard quarterback and like tell everybody like, oh, you should do this, you should do this. And I saw something this morning I sent to a friend of mine about the UFC fights last weekend, and I was like, holy cow. Like, we have got just this massive opinion of ourselves and what we would do, based on what we know, but we don't know.
If you're in the ring?
Yeah. Like, what are you going to do in there? Like, no way.
You're dead, man.
No, and I click on the profile, and I was like, man, I don't think you could do that.
There's a reason he's a keyboard warrior. Yeah.
But it's pseudo activism, right? Yeah. It's like, we want to type out all this stuff, but when it comes to putting like boots to ground or hand to shovel or whatever it is, hang on. I don't want to do that. That's hard. That hurts. But
yeah.
That's where growth's at, and that's where investment's at.
So when you, of course, those lessons, those philosophies will lend to this. But what specific activities, what happens in this group, in this organization?
So I've been fortunate to be involved as a mentor the last couple of years, which has been awesome. You get paired up with a student and you help them really just troubleshoot and think through, one, starting their own business, because everybody has to come up with their own business if they do, but then you do a class business as well.
Okay.
So you do those two things. It culminates in a trade show, and in like the class business too. So this past year they did a trivia day or trivia night that we participated in as patrons. We booked our table, we went and did trivia and hung out with the students. They did a fantastic job doing that.
Yeah.
All the students start their own businesses. Alex Eckhart's a great example of this.
Oh,
I keep name dropping him, but he's from the program.
Duh.
Rinse from us at Experience Quincy too at the shoe store that is just doing phenomenal.
Is it Q? What is it?
Q-Town Kicks.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, he's a product of the program too. He's a student who showed up with a great idea, who was invested in deeply by the program. And that's what we want for all these kids, is for them to be just super successful, start new businesses, change communities, and just really reinvest themselves.
That's awesome.
So we get to do that. We also take tons of tours through other businesses to see how things run and operate, answer questions that way, really just expose kids to all kinds of different business opportunities for themselves, from trades, which I come from, so I'm passionate about, into all kinds of new things, from food-based businesses to car detailing to shoes, like you name it. If kids bring ideas to the table, we want them to do the things they're passionate about.
So cool.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned that it's selective. How do you qualify, or how do you get involved in the CEO program?
Yeah, there's a whole application process.
Okay.
And then it's picked out by the board. I was fortunate that I didn't have to do that this year. I came on after all that, so it's done.
Yeah.
So I'll know more about what that looks like next year when we get into the 2025-26 class.
Okay.
But the board and Roger, before he left, had everybody already selected for this next fall. So
your job's easy.
Yeah, that part of it's easy. I don't know how the rest of it.
Yeah. We'll see how it plays out.
We'll see how easy plays out.
Yeah.
But I'm incredibly excited about this.
Yeah.
Like I said, investing in kids and just in our community is something I'm deeply passionate about, and this is just another avenue where I get to do that. And I'm grateful for the opportunities that keep popping up for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And last but not least, of course, you are a father and a husband. So I'm sure all of this kind of works together to create quite possibly one of the, we'll say easy, but best fitting titles that you're going to have. And I'm excited to see what title you add on next, where you go next.
Yeah.
So
we'll see.
Well, congratulations.
You never know.
Thank you for your engagement. Thank you for your involvement. Keep doing what you do. You are killing it.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Of
Happy
course.
to be here.
All right. Coming up next, Britt B and Ash C and Coffee Talk. Stay tuned.
Kelly's has been a fun place to eat and drink in Quincy since 1982. A fun and friendly atmosphere, food with flavor, homemade cinnamon rolls, and famous cheese soup, the best menu in town. Kelly's, 2902 Broadway, Quincy.
Welcome to the Abbey, a Quincy tradition. With 6 big screens, a new larger kitchen, and now more seating capacity, the Abbey is the place to be before, during, and after the big game. Come enjoy fan favorite appetizers, steaks, burgers, and a variety of daily food and drink specials. Can't join us? Carryout is available too. Now with a convenient drive-up window to better serve you. 1736 Spring in Quincy. Opens at 3 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. Come join all your friends at the Abbey, a Quincy tradition.
The Tower, a great place to meet and eat. But did you know the Tower has one of the finest drink selections in our area? Along with its incredible Mexican menu, the Tower specializes in tequilas for every taste. Names like Patron, Cabo Wabo, and Hornitos. And don't forget the margaritas. On Mondays and Tuesdays, stop by and pick up a single topping pizza and get Tower margaritas to go. Enjoy the Tower at home or in our dining room, bar area, or the Tower's signature climate-controlled porch. The Tower Pizza and Mexican in Quincy.
Are you looking for the perfect venue for your next special event? Check out Utopia Event Center. Utopia has a large banquet room and an awesome bar area, perfect for anything from birthday parties to formal corporate meetings. It also offers a photo booth, stage for a DJ or a live band, and a fully stocked bar, all for only $300. Check us out at utopiaeventcenter.com or call Barn at 217-430-6559 for more information. Utopia Event Center, 900 North 12th Street in Quincy.
Instant Replay is your local sports bar. With 18 big screen TVs, we have all the sports packages from college games to pro games. We offer daily drink specials, and come check out the Bullpen, our newly renovated beer garden. Instant Replay, 2739 Chestnut in Quincy.
The Liquor Booth is your home for a huge selection of beer, wine, and spirits. The Liquor Booth has 2 locations in Quincy, 3520 Broadway and 1500 North 12th Street. The Liquor Booth, where it's always happy hour.
And welcome back. Now it's time for Coffee Talk. I think I went up. Did you go up?
No, I'm
went
back
down.
to just doing it
she's
the
doing it her
normal way.
Listen, it is what it is, and it is what it is. So,
It is what it is.
Yeah, what are we talking about today?
Okay, so if you haven't seen the headline.
My hair?
Oh wait,
okay,
what?
Yeah, what?
I'm sorry, I forgot
listen,
to acknowledge the real headline.
Listen, yeah, the real headline is Ash got a bunch of hair cut off.
You got
Feels
a
great.
lot
yeah,
cut off.
I did, but I love it. Anyway, sorry.
It looks amazing.
Thanks.
Don't be sorry.
Yeah.
That is
Just wanted to throw that PSA out there. Well, okay. Now on to the real biz.
is it though? I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. It's all pretty important. I'm not going to lie.
It is. It blew up our social media news feed today. So there were 2 stories put out this morning, yesterday, as you're watching this now. One was on the 54th Street Broadway development. The other one was Mr. Tom Marks in his development with the Sears building.
Sears.
So with both of those, it is 2 separate developments. But a lot of people had a lot of things to say about it.
It seems like anytime we're talking about a development, any kind of project, right, in Quincy, there are so many anymore that I can't keep them straight. Who's asking for what money, for what purpose, and, you know, why all of a sudden we're in this business of incentivizing.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if it's a great thing or not. All I know is from a personal perspective that it seems to be a relatively new recurring theme that when you want to develop something, now all of a sudden you can get a lot of help from
Government subsidies.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it's not new. It just seems like it's more prevalent now.
I think it's a lot more prevalent.
Yeah.
Somebody had commented in there that, you know, this has been around forever and it's going to be around forever. It's like, is it? Because there's
We
only
don't have
so
any
much,
money.
There's only so much to the pie.
Yeah.
You know? I think when we're like subsidizing new development, really what we're doing is subsidizing what is existing Quincy's failure. You know,
Yeah.
I know that's an argument that people are like, oh my God, like you don't like a little competition, or you don't like that. Brittany doesn't like growth and stuff. I mean, I hear that a lot.
You are such a hater.
I am.
No, I'm kidding.
But
you're definitely not a hater. You
two-part.
are responsible.
No, I hear what people like the already existing Quincyans are saying. Our clients, who are a lot of restaurants that, sponsor and work for us,
Yep.
are saying, we would love to sponsor the local news. We kind of need your help getting people in here.
Yeah.
They're asking for higher ads.
Yeah.
Not, advertising
No,
ads
they
so
need
much
people
because
to
we
work.
need people.
Yeah.
So again, two separate developments. This one out on 54th and Broadway is right now, I think it's going to be a gas station and 4 restaurants is what the story reads.
I would love that.
Anybody would.
Yeah.
But with those 4 restaurants opening,
Where do those people come from?
4 more are going to close.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Well,
how it works.
And so I don't necessarily understand if there's a huge difference between incentive or abatement. So I guess I need to do some homework on that. But I know that there are different terms being tossed around, so
It would
it's hard
be
to kind of
this,
keep
like,
up.
abatement would be, I think, incentive.
It's
And
all kind of the same thing.
yeah.
It's just used at different times in development, I
Yes.
think, right? So if it's an abatement, it's like, well, later on you'll get some kind of reprieve or something. Maybe,
Yes.
right? I don't know.
So the 54th Street is asking for, it's $1 million, but it's a tax, like a sales tax bubble. So when that sales tax is like bubbling $1 million of money, and it goes towards the developer. So do you get what? It
Yeah.
holds back sales tax.
I kinda
to
get
make that
that.
$1 million happen.
Where would the sales tax be going otherwise?
Back to Quincy.
Okay.
So it is technically.
So then I don't agree with that either.
No, I don't. Okay, and then the 250 that Tom is asking for, that is coming from a bubble. It was like a business district bubble that was created back in 2021. So I guess my argument is,
do the monies exist?
Does it already exist?
The 250 that he's asking
Yes,
for, or is it
'cause
in the budget somewhere? That's already.
Yeah, it's earmarked to go towards these things.
Okay.
So a big thing with that is, and you hear it online, I'm going to agree with it too. Tom Marks is a Quincyan. This other person is not. I know that's a big, people are like, why would you not want?
Because you've said from day one, Quincy first.
Yeah, say it with me. Quincy first. It's really disheartening when you see your government give money to a non-Quincyan when you're a Quincyan that's struggling, as a business owner. I don't know. I would,
Also, if they were like this, hey, we have this money that we're willing to give to someone who would develop, I'm sure a Quincyan would step up. It's just one of those things we may not know all the ins and outs.
Yeah.
So we just don't.
I guess, yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I guess, though, I've heard that 54th Street, they have had their, it's sat for a while. And there have been, I guess, proposals. I don't know if
I didn't even know it was for really for sale.
It's sat vacant for a while, and everyone's saying it needs to be developed.
I
It
agree.
needs to be developed, but to what cost? Does it need to be developed?
So here's what I'm going to say. I didn't realize it was for sale. I didn't realize. I mean, I guess I probably realized
Everything's
it
for
was vacant.
sale.
But it didn't occur to me until now that something needed to happen. So in my mind, I don't think something needs to happen.
Okay, so that brings to my biggest point. So the idea that something needs to happen to fix Quincy, that Quincy needs to grow, Quincy needs more to fix what it is. Who got that mentality?
I
Who
don't
decided
know.
that is what the thing
So
is.
this is kind of the conversation that I had with Frankie on Frankie Say. That so on one hand, I agree with the fact that we should not be, it shouldn't be like status quo, right? We shouldn't just be okay with where we are all the time. But I don't think that just because growth is this fancy word that everybody is latching onto, that we just need to grow haphazardly and without any considerations for how it's going to happen, who's it going to affect, what is it going to do to us in the future. So I always kind of equate it back to schools and safety and, of course, jobs. And where are these people coming from? And how are we going to sustain this great quality of life that I think most Quincyans have become accustomed to? What type of people is it going to bring here? What type of people is it going to steal from? What businesses is it going to steal from? Where are we going to put, if new people come, where are we going to put these kids? Where, if, You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
so many factors that in order to responsibly grow, we're not looking at that. We're just like, you know what? We just want to grow all these businesses because we think it's good.
We want
and
more.
And we're willing to
Everybody
sacrifice
wants more options.
And we're willing to sacrifice the general quality of life in Quincy so that one person can have a development that makes them money
Yeah.
and offers more options to Quincyans. But with those
Or
options,
surrounding people, but with
right?
those options,
But with those options, there has to be some kind of sacrifice.
and the sacrifice is when one place opens, the next place closes. There's only so much to go around.
Yeah.
And again, people aren't coming to Quincy to work into these restaurants.
No, the only
maybe
people-
like the GM or something
Sure,
like that.
sure.
But like,
Life-changing positions.
yeah, it.
Head of household, I think is what they call it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like I experienced this a little bit. You know, I went from one restaurant when I was in college to the better one that was opening and
Oh, yeah.
gonna be new. And
yeah.
as did 20 other of the people.
Yeah, I
and
mean, if you were
everyone's
smart,
like,
you just hop around to all the new places because you know that it's going to have an influx of people.
which restaurant people do.
And that's what's going to happen.
Yes.
Folks.
And what stinks is the original supporters, like I said, of the place, like of Muddy River News, of Quincy in general, the people that back everything have now had to back their own demise. Technically.
I don't think you have to back it. I think we should always.
Oh no, they have to pay their food and beverage tax.
Well, yeah,
they
yeah,
have
that's
to pay
true,
their
that's true.
property taxes.
Yep.
We all have to pay sales taxes. And again, these taxes are it's Quincy's money, you know.
Right.
So like
So this
Quincyans spent it. People outside of Quincy have spent it too. But you've spent it, you got your goods, and now it's Quincy's money.
Yeah.
And now we're taking that money and
expanding
giving it to a non-Quincyan.
Yeah.
I know that sounds so like secluded, but it is kind of a real slap in the face.
Well, I think that if Quincy were great, meaning there weren't people sleeping in their cars, there aren't people like if we had all the resources in the world, right, to offer everything we need to our own citizens and our own community, food, shelter, right, even the basic necessities, then maybe we could branch out. I don't think we're there yet.
Yeah. Let's fix it. I love this is the analogy that I gave the guys coming in because they knew I was fired up about it and they're like, well, you better get your ducks in a row before you. I was like, listen, I got this. Yeah. It's a house. Quincy's a house. Quincy is my house. I'm not going to add to my house if I can't take care of it as it is already.
If you can't clean the first floor bathroom, you better not add a second one.
And I get the argument of development and growth will fix things because it will bring in more sales and revenue. And you know what? It will bring in more people, more crime, more potholes, more maintenance. Where did we get off saying growth and development is what's going to fix Quincy now? We have been at a stagnant population, actually declining for the last 100 years.
Well, but
so this
we
argument,
don't have enough homes.
I know. So this
it's just
argument,
all
though,
asinine, kind
but the argument that we're going to get back is you don't like Quincy because you don't want it to grow and develop, and that is some lazy arguing. It
That
really, truly
is a cop out, and I think the reason that people say that is because it's all they have to say.
It's
my argument is
new cancel culture, like I've said.
Yeah,
though.
I'm all for responsible growth, responsible spending. What I'm not for is let's just invite everyone and everything because we think we want to be the next. I don't even know. What would be a good city?
Everybody wants to be Austin, Texas. Everybody wants to be Chicago.
Not me.
Me either. But it's like, but these are where a lot of these examples are coming from. Well, I went to Austin and this was great here, and I went here. It's like we are.
There's a reason people stay in Quincy.
My last note on that, like the two developers, and like they're like, why can you support one and not the other? Mm-hmm. Or you can do whatever you want. It's your opinion. My personal opinion of supporting the one of the man that has been
Tom
here.
Marks.
Yes.
We'll say his name.
He's
a rock star.
Yeah, like if I'm going to bet on something, I'm going to bet on the champ, the guy that made that business bubble. He could arguably be the most, like the biggest developer in Quincy.
Yeah.
That bubble that this money is coming from, a lot of it are his developments.
It's his investment.
So, there is a difference. There's a difference between restaurants and retailers. We don't have a lot of
Do we know what he
retailers.
wants to do with Sears?
He hasn't announced it. I
Okay,
do think
then don't say
that's
it.
part of the thing that needs to be based in the decision too.
That's what I'm
You
saying.
should know what's coming and stuff. But again, difference between retailers and restaurants in regards to development. Do we need more restaurants? Like, again, the comments. I hope we get another Mexican restaurant. I'm like, oh,
Well, but
you
even
know.
retailers are going to have to take people from
But
another retailer.
Kind of.
So-
We don't have that many retailers. Like, I could argue that one, I feel like, a little bit.
Yeah, but then the like shop owners and stuff, like the boutiques, and then where do we go? I don't know.
True.
I don't know.
The retail world is not so much my forte. I was
Yeah.
telling David that too. The restaurant world is. I eat in them every day. I used to work in them, and now I'm repping for them. Is a clients, and their biggest concern and need is we don't have people to work. That's
So-
huge.
Let me go ahead and say this. If I could get all of the little boutiques to create a mall that I can actually shop in and maybe have one of those Mexican restaurants inside that mall again and maybe an escalator up and down
That we could stop.
let's call it a day.
Oh my gosh, that would
right?
be so cool.
Wouldn't that be perfect?
Yeah, I think
somebody
it's great.
develop that and let's then we'll all get on board, I think.
Yeah.
The mall culture needs to come back.
I-
Just
I-
fill
I
it
agree.
with locally owned places, right?
Yes.
And not so many big box. You can maybe have one to help pay for all the rent, but right?
Again, yes.
Yeah.
I just think we need to take a step back and think about what exactly are we subsidizing here and to what cost.
Yeah.
Is the big thing. I don't
also,
want
I want to
see
see a whole I want to see a whole thing of who's doing what and how much does it cost and what's it bringing back. Like I'm going to eventually have to see these numbers and these charts
Yeah.
to be able to make an informed decision. Otherwise, it's just me talking out of my every day.
No, well, we do that. But
That's what we're good for.
I really don't want to see our local places that we love leave because
Well, and
they can't. That's the biggest thing.
It goes back to me being a crybaby. It's just not fair when you have people who have, put blood, sweat, tears,
It's
personal.
not fair. It's a slap in
personal
the face.
investments.
It's a slap in the face from your city
Well, it's
government,
also
sort
kind of like, hey guys, we've done this. Why can't you do it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And do it without. If your idea is grand, make it happen. Make it happen.
Mm-hmm. We've seen it happen before.
Amen.
I know it's the era of incentives. So
But I will tell you, the businesses that, they're good on their own, right?
I
don't
hope
think
they
they're-
stay.
I do too. I don't think they're. We'll see. But
Yeah.
fingers crossed, because I don't want to have to cook, but I will. I will to keep some of these places open. Look, if I have to wash dishes, if I have to serve, if I have to cook, I will do it. Okay?
Oh Lord,
Hey.
let's not have that happen, please.
Well, maybe you'll be joining me.
All right, okay.
All right. On that note, I think that does it for
Coffee Talk.